really absolutely extraordinary sometimes to see what goes on in France. When you think back to when was the last time we had a serious riot, 2011, and the way that we reacted to that, and then you see what's going on just over the channel, and it's extraordinary. There's been a huge police mobilization. The French police are a completely different kettle of fish to the British police. They have sort of this paramilitary gendarmerie, as well as very, very sort of aggressive riot police, CRS, and that is matched, I think, by the sort of energy and anger that you see on the streets from the rioters and protesters. There's reports of armed gangs. There's been a police station stormed. It's a completely different world in many ways, despite being so close by.
There's a particularly informative piece by Andrew Hussey on page 9 in The Observer. He talks to two police officers in a small town, and they say to him, you have to understand when you go into some of these areas, one said you have to be constantly tense, alert, ready to be attacked at any time. It feels like a war zone. And this is before the riots, Emma. This is based off the fact that there were police officers that had been set upon. We've heard of police vehicles set alight in some areas when police officers have been patrolling. So this tension between the police, and particularly, we have to be honest, North African and Arab and black youths in France, that relationship seems to have completely broken down.
Yeah, so there are 3 theories as to why riots happen. The first one is like a mad mob theory, where individuals lose their sense of self, reason, rationality, and do things that they wouldn't normally do. The second is collective violence, which is a sort of a product of convergence of bad or criminal individuals enacting their predispositions together in the same place. And the third is sort of like a combination of those two. So it's like bad leading the mad. And there's a great quote from a book about the English riots that were in 2011, which was called Mad Mobs and Englishmen, which says, unscrupulous people take advantage of the gullibility of the crowd in order to use them as a tool for destruction. And you can see how all of this seems like it's playing out in France. But these sort of classical explanations of how and why riots happen are inadequate, because they fail to take account of factors that drive these confrontations. So collective behaviour, although it might look mindless, it isn't. It may be criminal, but it does have meaning and conscious intent. And this is important, because in order to address the causes of violence and why riots happen and how to stop them, you do need to address the factors that drive the confrontations. And there's no doubt about it that in France, as well as obviously the awful killing of Nahel Merzouk was the match that lit the fire. Beneath it, the causes of it are institutional racism and inequality, and those things need to be dealt with head on.
Again, in that Andrew Hussey piece in The Observer, he speaks to a man called Bashir, who lives in one of these areas. And he said to Andrew Hussey, he said, I'm 40 years old, I have a master's degree and a family, but all my life I've been discriminated against and humiliated always by the police. And now this has happened, people can't take any more. Just gives you a little bit of a glimpse.